My ambition was to become a teacher, so.
In the early to mid-20th century, the African-American experience in Delaware was much different than it is today. A border state during the Civil War, Delaware remained in the Union, but with Confederate sympathies, and continued to practice slavery. Finally ratifying the 13th Amendment in 1901, Delaware remained openly segregated well into the 1950s. Racist practices varied across the state, creating different life experiences for African Americans, depending on where they lived. A Delaware native for over a century, Susan Young Browne recognized her passion for teaching at a very young age.
I was born April the 24th, 1918, in Lincoln, Delaware, on a farm. And I was the 10th of my mother's children. My father was a farmer. He sold tomatoes. He sold cucumbers, because I have a picture of me. He's standing in his cucumber patch. The farm was 40 acres, which wasn't too large, but to me it was large. My parents never had electricity. We just used kerosene lamps. And of course, they never had a telephone. All our neighbors were usually white because we were the farmers, and of course it was a farm community, but we got along very well together. When we moved to Houston, I think we were probably about a half a mile from school. It was a DuPont school, and of course it was one room. The teacher that was there, she was very nice, and I enjoyed being in school with her. That was one of the most important things that I had in mind, was to get an education and be a teacher. When the strawberry season came on, I just must walk about, probably about 2 or 3 miles, walk and pick before I went to school. And I'd pick strawberries, and then I'd come home and get ready and go to school. The second Sunday in June was Children's Day, so I picked strawberries, so I have a new dress and new shoes and socks. We went into Milford on Saturday, or Saturday evening, walk up and down the street. I don't think it was but 1 or 2 stores that would accommodate blacks. They were the Jewish stores. They would, you could go in there and they would accommodate you, but the other stores, well, you could go in, but they weren't very nice to you. They acted like they didn't want you in there. At that time, only high school for blacks was in Wilmington, Howard High, and Delaware State. We had a factory in Houston for canned food. That was how I raised money so we could go to Delaware State. It was different and quite an experience. After all, we never had electricity and running water. It was like someplace out of this world to me. I really enjoyed that, and as my ambition was to become a teacher, I started college. I had to stop because I didn't have money, so I worked till finally got enough. Of course, in between I got married, but then I went back and finished college. A friend of mine that was teaching in Ellendale, she decided that she wanted to go with her husband. So I had 1 week of student teaching, and I went to Ellendale to teach grades 1 through 8. And the teacher left me the roll book. That's it. It wasn't too hard because I kept trying to remember when I was in elementary school. See, that's the kind of school I went to with all the grades. So I try to remember how the teacher taught. And that's how I finally got through.